Welcome to Half a Point, the podcast that saw Brisbane upset the Pies, handing us our third loss in 4 games. That's right, we called the only upset of round 21. But this week is our round 22 best picks episode. We'll each be giving our 5 best picks against the spread. To help me break it down, I am joined by my co-host, Carlton Superfan. Cuss, mate, how feeling?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Another decent week of footy, I guess. But yeah, just cracking on.
Yeah, that's right. As a reminder, if you're new to the channel, please leave a like on this video and subscribe. We're also active on TikTok, on X, and on Instagram, so give us a follow on those. We love it when people come and tell us that they watch our stuff every day. Shout out to you, Treshan, who watch our stuff every week and use us for your picks, your weekly picks, your tipping competitions. If you've been tailing our picks, I bet you've been doing pretty well this season. But yeah. Before we get started, as a reminder to also please gamble responsibly. All right, Cast, let's jump into round 21 here. So, as we said, only one upset, so not great. We did call it, but not a great round of football. But we'll jump into these games, starting off with the Western Bulldogs and the GWS Giants. You did fall into the trap, did you?
Yeah, definitely fell into the trap there. Deplorable effort from GWS, honestly. Like that was from the moment the ball was bounced, it was just such a tough watch. Bulldogs were able to get off to a hot start. And pretty much from first quarter, you could say that that game was over. It was sort of hard to see Giants even coming close to covering there. So yeah, a bit disappointing, but I guess if you're looking from Western Bulldogs' point of view, it's pretty good prep for finals. But yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Wouldn't read into it too much. If you're still big on the Giants, I'm still big on them. So just a mulligan. Don't worry about it too much. Moving on to Adelaide Hawthorn. Hawthorn came out to play, man. Up by 32 early on in the game in the first half. Then I think Adelaide kicked the next 8 in a row. So I don't know. Look, Hawthorn ended up covering, and thought they deserved the cover. So pretty happy with that result. If Adelaide covered, it would have been a pretty bad beat. Again, it would have had a 48-point buffer then, up by 32, and that would have been brutal if it evaporated, which it did for a while there. But you could even tell, even when Adelaide got off to a little bit of a lead, like Hawthorn was going to come back. That's how these games always go. Usually, if you see it's evenly matched, you're not going to get dominance from one team for the whole time. I know with the Western Bulldogs Giants, that's what happened, but that was for the whole game, right? It was just a bad spot. Like when it goes back and forth in the first half, you just know the same things that happen in the second half as well. Um, Moving on to Melbourne, West Coast. I think you're on West Coast at the points.
yeah, definitely. I was on West Coast here. Pretty surprised, honestly. I think it was just that third quarter blitz by Melbourne, that really got them away. Otherwise, you look at the rest of the game and they did pretty well to hold on there. Just yeah, sort of let go quite a bit in that third quarter, which is unlucky, but sort of what you expect from a really bad team like West Coast, playing against another bad team of Melbourne.
That's right. Gold Coast, Richmond. Yeah, great pick. Yeah, I was on Gold Coast minus 50 and a half. Not a sweat, really. Laying 50, it's always scary because you're going to get up there. It's a lot of points to lay. But then, I don't know, this is about as easy as it gets when you're restricting the opposition 23 points. You're going to cover most games. Yeah, Gold Coast just dominated. Yeah, I think it was a good spot for them. They played, but you could even see in the second half they still played with some effort and intensity, which is what you want to see when you're laying these big numbers. That's what you want to see with this Gold Coast side. So, yeah, good pick there. Moving on to Sydney Essendon, we're both on the Bombers. Good win for us.
Yeah, it was a huge line. We said it was big from the start. It's hard to see Sydney covering a line that's, you know, 45, 46, whatever it was. So yeah, definitely a good pick from us. Well read, and yeah, Bombers did pretty well, honestly. Like
Mate,
performance wasn't too bad.
that when they were like on for the upset. Like if Merrick kicked that one
Yeah.
from outside 50, that could have been a crazy upset. I was thinking about what you said last
Mm,
week when you said there was no chance. It would have been pretty insane. But yeah, they just fall short. But yeah, easy cover in the end as well.
yeah.
Collingwood, Brisbane. Yeah, Brisbane just dominates from start to finish. Really, I know Collingwood had burst in the second quarter, but yeah, Brisbane were just clinical. Again, I say. with these matchups, just go with the dog. The dog has won 4 times in the last 4 games with these two teams. 3 times it was Collingwood, once it was now Brisbane. Just the perfect spot to jump on them. That's why I got to listen. And then St Kilda, North Melbourne again. Got to the halfway through the fourth, and it's not really a sweat again. Like we see with these times, you got to buy low and sell high. So that's exactly what we did. We sold high with St Kilda after their crazy win versus Melbourne, and we bought low on North Melbourne after they got demolished by the Cats. So yeah, again, I know it's laying like oh sorry, catching only 24 with this North Melbourne side. It's disgusting, but you just got to go with it. They're just long term winners. Geelong, Port
Yeah,
Adelaide, pretty unlucky. Demolished the
yeah,
job
that
again.
was I didn't expect this honestly. But Geelong just came out and absolutely pumped them. It was they did well. I'd say in the first half, but yeah, just once again Geelong blitz. They just kept getting goals. I think Jack Martin set a record getting 4 goals in just over 5 minutes.
Pretty handy play to keep
Which
a football club.
yeah, I wouldn't mind if he was at Carlton, honestly. Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you trade away a player. Um, yeah, but as not unlucky, I wouldn't say it's unlucky. Geelong definitely came out to play. Just misread, I guess. And then next up with Fremantle and Carlton, we both stayed away from this one. Um, but yeah, Carlton they looked good in the first half as they did at the start of the year, and then just completely faded away. Ended up losing by 27. So, if you're on Carlton, it's a bit unlucky, but it's also it's you sort of deserve it for even trusting these guys.
Well, no, they
Uh,
covered. They did cover in the end. So they were catching, I think, 32 in the contest, and I think he
mm,
ended up at like 38. So yeah, they did end up covering. There was a world, but like, I mean, Fremantle, if there was another double goal for Fremantle at the end, it would have been kind of
yeah,
poetic if that happened. But
yeah.
yeah, like, so yeah, if you're on Carlton, it was the right side. But yeah, as you said, Gus, like, it's so hard, even though it was the right side, like, they played almost a
Mm,
perfect first half, and there was a world where they didn't cover that game. So yeah, I see what
yeah.
you mean there. But yeah, that was round 21. So I went 5-0 again. So I don't know. This is a crazy run. So I've gone 5-0, 5-0, 3-2, and 5-0. So 18-2 ATS over the last 4 weeks. It's an insane run. It's not sustainable at all.
Yeah.
One of those losses was that stupid Melbourne game to St Kilda as well. So I don't know.
Mm,
Could say I should be 19-1. But yeah, as I say every week, like we just trying to go 3-2, 56% against the spread. So now I moved to 61-44, which is 58% against the spread. So going above the pros is exactly where
huge.
I want to be. You get two and
Yeah.
three again. Mate, you love these two and threes this
I
year.
love the two and threes. Yeah.
So you're just under 500, 51 and 54. But again, if you just have 1 or 2 good weeks, you can see just skyrocket like that.
Mm.
As I said, I think the last time I went 5-0, just got to put it behind you. That's great. Okay, on to the next week now. Try go 3-2 this week, and just that's the attitude you got to take every single week, no matter you go 0-5 or 5-0. In saying that, let's jump into round 22. Dogs went 5-4, by the way, last week, so again, not really pretty even there. But yeah, let's jump into round 22 here. Starting off with Hawthorn versus Collingwood. Absolute blockbuster, probably the best game of the round here. Thursday night game at the MCG. Last time I played, Collingwood were 8.5 point favourites, ended up blowing them out by 51. That was back in round 12. I think I was on Hawthorn that game, got demolished. This time around, Hawthorn are 7.5 point dogs. Where are you going with this one?
Straight off the bat, mate. Blockbuster game. I'm staying away. It's a big stay away for me. I sort of just don't have a read on this. Like this Collingwood side, you sort of expect them to just bounce back. They've, lost 3 of the last 4 games. And yeah, just not playing the way that they want to play. They do have I think they have a few players that are possibly coming back.
Yeah, I think
Um,
how's coming back.
yeah, so that should obviously help them, but once again, it's just even this Hawthorn side, you can't read properly, like when they're gonna have a good game or a bad game. So just gonna stay away here. But yeah, how do you read it?
Yeah, man. Collingwood haven't covered. Well, I think it's 4 in a row. You're getting Howe back. No Will Day for Hawthorn. Give me Hawthorn plus 7.5 and give me Hawthorn to win outright here. Absolutely love this spot for Hawthorn. I just think, man, I've been fading this Collingwood team for the last 5 weeks and it's just been free money. I still don't think the market's caught up to this Collingwood team. They're still laying points here. at the MCG. I know it's a very similar number to last time, and Collingwood ended up blowing them out, but I feel like it's a different story this time. Like you can see, there's just something off with this Collingwood side. Teams have scouted them. Like there are ways to beat them. We saw Brisbane last week just kick through them. Yep, it's a little bit risky, but I feel like Hawthorn have the ball users off halfback to do it. I'm thinking Amon, I'm thinking Impey, I'm thinking Sicily. They have the pieces to do that, and they also have the pieces up forward as well. Gunston is in crazy form this whole year, and yeah, they have one of the other forwards. I feel like will fire as well with this Collingwood defense that is looking a little bit shaky over the last few weeks. Again, I'm hoping we win. I really hope we win this game because it's a really important game for us to sort of lock in the top four spot. So I hope we win by less than 7, but I don't think we do here, man. I feel like it's a coin flip game, so I'm just going to take the points here. So yeah, give me Hawthorn and the points. Absolutely love this one. Moving on to Geelong versus Essendon, a Friday night game at GMHBA. Last time I played Geelong were 30.5 point favorites. Ended up winning by 95. I think we are both at Essendon in that game. Total dead bet. This time around, Geelong are 67.5 point favorites. Biggest line of the year so far. Stay away from me here. Um, I don't know, man. Like, I really want to be an Essendon here just because of the size of that line. Geelong also on a 5-day break. Like, man, I don't know how many points you want to lay off a 5-day break, but I don't know with this Geelong side, they could probably get this done in 3 quarters, if I'm being honest. Like if they get on a roll. Um, you could see them last week sort of trying to feed Jezza these cheap, I don't know, man. With this Jezza getting to 100 thing, man, they're feeding him like cheap goals, like just handballing and it's like
Yeah.
he's kicking around the body. I don't know. It doesn't see, it's like even if he gets there, it feels like a little bit fake. I don't know if it, I don't know. Like goals are meant to be like, earned. I don't know. They seem to be pretty cheap. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, with this Geelong side, like we've seen them as home favourites this year. They've just been on a covering spree, especially on bad teams. They tend to pile on as well. You feel like as we're getting closer to finals, they're gonna be focused. They might still pile on here. But yeah, I want to be on Essendon, but I just can't get there. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think what you said about like the whole Jezza getting to 100 thing, absolutely bang on. Like I feel like they're just gonna try and feed him every inside 50. Given that it's Essendon they're playing with a shorter defensive line. So yeah, like obviously I feel like they're gonna try and pile on a few goals through him, but obviously that just means that there's gonna be rebound 50s and whatnot. So I'm jumping on Essendon here at plus 67.5. It's a massive line, and
Yeah,
I just feel like I feel a bit dumb just not jumping on it. 'Cause especially like Geelong, they've had 2 big weeks. I think they've scored over 150 in the past 2 weeks. Um, might need to fact check that, but yeah, I think yeah, it's just I think this is a week maybe they quieten down a little bit. And then yeah, Essendon able to just cover this line just. But yeah, jumping on
yeah,
Essendon here.
yeah. You could get a backdoor, because on the 5-day break, but yeah, we'll see. Moving on to Richmond versus St Kilda, Saturday afternoon game at the MCG. Last time they played St Kilda were 27.5 point favorites, ended up winning by 82. That was back in round 3 at Marvel. This time around, Richmond are 22.5 point dogs. We're going with this one.
This one's a stay away for me. I do like Richmond here, especially given that it's at the MCG. But then also Saints, I feel like St Kilda is just an unpredictable team towards the end of the year. We saw what they pulled off 2 weeks ago, and then last week they didn't really play that great against North Melbourne. So it's definitely something that I'm just going to stay away with. But if I was to jump on a team, it would probably be Richmond here at plus 22.5.
Give me Richmond plus 22.5 here. Yeah, man. I said last week, you jump on St Kilda's dogs, you fade them as favourites. They were favourites last week, faded them, worked out great. I'm just going to go back to the well here, do the same thing.
Yeah.
Not much else there. Like with the St Kilda side, I know they were favourites last time against Richmond and ended up blowing them out. This one's at the MCG. This Richmond side plays well at the MCG. They're also coming off a really bad performance versus the Suns. You'd expect a bit of a response there. I don't expect them to get blown out by the Saints again. And yeah, with the St Kilda team, yeah, they will just hang around against the good teams and just keep it close against the bad teams, right? Usually speaking. So yeah, I just think it's another good spot to fade this St Kilda side. I know Richmond, it's a pretty ugly pick again, going with this Richmond side after what they put up 23 points last week. So, but that's exactly when you jump on them. When everyone's off them, you want to jump on and take those opportunities. So yeah, give me Richmond and the points here. Moving on to Brisbane versus Sydney Saturday twilight game at the Gabba. Last time they played, Brisbane with 3.5 point favorites, end up winning by 4, so covering by half a point. I think I was on Brisbane at least on for that game. That was back in round one though. This time around, Brisbane are 25.5 point favorites. Give me Sydney plus 25.5 here. I mean, I don't know how many times you're going to say it, man. You fade Brisbane at the Gabba as favourites, mate. I don't know how many times we've jumped on it this year. Getting once again getting a really good number here at more than 4 goals versus Sydney side who have underachieved this year, but I just feel like they play freely now. There's a couple of weeks left, and also Brisbane. They just came off beating Collingwood. We faded the team who has beaten Collingwood, and then the next week I faded them. I'm thinking Gold Coast. I'm thinking Fremantle. Going to do it again with this Brisbane side. Like they had their big emotional win on the road, their prove it win. I feel like they just come here, try get the win, just get the win and get out of there. Really, they got a big game against Fremantle coming up, and then Hawthorn as well come to town. So yeah, I just feel like this is that weird game in the middle where Sydney could they pull off the upset? I'm going to play a bit of money line. Like you never know with these I really want to see one of these bottom nine teams beat a top nine team. Like it would just shake up everything so much because right
Mm.
now everyone's sort of predicting everything to go as it is. But yeah, as I said, going to take Sydney and the points, fading Brisbane at the Gabba. What do you think?
Yep, exactly what I think. Give me Brisbane. No, 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 absolutely not. Give me Sydney plus 25.5. Yeah, like you said, Brisbane at the Gabba, you want to fade it. Big win last week against Collingwood. All the more reason to fade him this week. And then also keeping in mind that Lachie Neale has been ruled out for the rest of the season. That's going to shake up the midfield dynamic quite a lot. We know how good he is in the in the contest. So yeah, pretty easy pick here. Sydney plus 22.5, 25.5.
Yeah, with the Lockett Neal, it was 29.5 and then it got caught out. So yeah,
Mm.
line moved by 4. I don't know if I'm gonna put that much. I mean, obviously the market just respects Lockett Neal that much. So that's fair enough, but yeah, usually we say it's overrated the first week after a player gets injured. So yeah, I wish we were getting a better number here, but yeah, we'll take the 25.5 points anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on to Carlton versus Gold Coast Saturday night game at Marvel. Oh wow, that's an awful primetime game. Last time they played Carlton were 13.5 point favorites. Ended up winning by 29 at Marvel. That was back last year. This time around, Carlton are 28.5 point dogs. Where are you going with this one?
It's a stay away for me. I sort of struggle to trust both these teams a little bit. You know, I could jump on Gold Coast here, given how Carlton. There's a lot of behind the doors talk about Carlton, how that's gonna affect their mental going into the game. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't even give a rough estimate of who I would go for here. But yeah, how do you read this one?
Yeah, stay away from me as well, man. Like, obviously, you see a home dog, and your instinct is to jump on the home dog, but I can't with this Carlton side. This Carlton side, as road favorites this year, I don't think they haven't covered. So they've been crazy as road favorites this year. I'm thinking West Coast, I'm thinking Essendon, I'm thinking yeah, a few more as well. But yeah, again, but it's such a big number, 20.5 points delay with this Carlton side. I know that I feel like Voss should get fired. You feel like he's lost the locker room a little bit here. So yeah, you'd hate jumping on teams like that, but I don't know, out of principle, I don't think I can lay 28 with Gold Coast. So yeah, staying away from it as well.
Yep.
Moving on to Port Adelaide versus Fremantle Saturday night game as well at the Adelaide Oval. Last time I played Fremantle were 18.5 point favorites at Optus, ended up winning by 49. I think we're both on Port Adelaide that game. Pretty bad pick there, but this time around, Port Adelaide are 27.5 point dogs. Stay away from me as well. Yeah, I really want to be on Port Adelaide here. Yeah, it's such a big number at home. They haven't. I think Port Adelaide haven't covered in 5 weeks. The last team they covered against.
Who?
Carlton, of course, it
Yep.
was Carlton. But that was ages ago. That was like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then Fremantle on not a covering spree. So they didn't cover the last couple of weeks, but they've had convincing wins the last few weeks. So um, yeah, not as in I would be on Port Adelaide and the points here, but I'm staying away from it for the contest just because I don't really trust this Port Adelaide side. But I think they're definitely the side. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, give me Port Adelaide plus 27.5. Yeah, like you said, I feel like they've had a few disappointing weeks in a row and they just sort of need to bounce back. I feel like we're getting close
I
to
feel
the
like
bottom of the
you've
market
been on
here.
Port Adelaide for like the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, I might honestly might have. I was on them last week as well. We saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, this Fremantle team as well. Like they can just play such good footy sometimes, and in like quick bursts as well. So it's a bit difficult to read, but yeah, let's hope Port Adelaide can get the cover here for me.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'd be shocked if they do cover this game, but I don't know. There is a world where that happens, so yeah, I'm staying away from it.
Mm.
Moving on to GWS versus North Melbourne Sunday afternoon game at Manuka. Last time we played, the Giants were 50.5 point favorites, ended up winning by 39. I think that was in round one last year, so it was a long, long time ago. This time around, the Giants are 50.5 point favorites. Where are you going with this one?
Give me North Melbourne plus 50.5. I just think like this GWS team, it's sort of unreliable team, and I sort of see it last week with Sydney and Essendon. It's like, a huge line for a team that doesn't necessarily always play that great of footy. So yeah, I think North Melbourne, they just do enough to sort of cover the line. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with North Melbourne here. But yeah, how do you read it?
Yeah, North Melbourne as road dogs against other teams this year are really good. So they covered against
Yeah.
Adelaide, they covered against Port Adelaide, they covered against Sydney, and they covered against Fremantle, all on the road as big dogs. They haven't won any of those games, but they're all covered. Despite that, give me the Giants minus 50.5 here. I know what I just said, and I was on them versus Sydney when they're 40.5 point dogs. I just think this is a great bounce back spot for this Giants side. He got embarrassed last week. As I said earlier on the show, like that was a mulligan. Like you just gotta put it away. I know I'm sort of investing in this Giants team a little bit here. Like as I think I said last week, for me it's Collingwood, Brisbane, and then the Giants. So probably Adelaide now as well. But yeah, I just trust this Giants team so much. We saw them respond in that second half versus Sydney. I'm expecting that similar sort of response this week to this North Melbourne side, where we see them pile on goals when they get on these crazy bursts. So I don't mind laying such a big number. Obviously, it's the same readers for this game as the Gold Coast Richmond one last week. Opened at 44 and it's trickled up to 50. Exact same thing here. Opened at 44 at some places. I was shocked, honestly, when I saw that number. I hammered that one. But yeah, it's pretty much 50 all over the place now as well. But yeah, I'm not going to blame you for the North Melbourne pick, though. I completely understand that. Like, yeah, not a bad pick, but yeah, give me the Giants minus 50.5. Yeah, so clashing on that one. Don't mind another clash here as well. Moving on
Yeah.
to Melbourne versus the Western Bulldogs. Sunday afternoon game at the MCG. Last time they played, the Western Bulldogs were 22.5 point favorites and they ended up winning by 51. I don't know if you remember, that was a game where we had the live watch along. And I was on Melbourne and the points, and the Bulldogs took like the first three maybe, and I was like, oh, all good. Melbourne's still covering. It was just a blowout.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an awful pick. But yeah, this time around, Melbourne are 25.5 point dogs. Easiest pick of the week. Give me Melbourne plus 25.5 here. Man, I didn't want Simon Goodwin to be sacked this week. Like even before or that whole sacking thing happened, I was hammering Melbourne this week. Such a great spot for this Melbourne side. And this Western Bulldogs side, I feel like this is a trap game, man. Like I'm playing some Melbourne money line here. I think Western Bulldogs, I think Melbourne can genuinely win this game. They're playing like way better footy than I think people realize. I think they're a way better team than people realize. I think Simon Goodwin said yesterday in the presser, like we're a lot closer than people think we are. And actually totally agree with him. And again, like he hasn't lost the locker room. You tell the players love him, so it's a bit of a shame that he's fired. But yeah, we also see. With the, if you want to say like, oh yeah, the first week after a coach gets fired, a team usually revs up and covers. That's true. So if you want to think back to last year when Adam Simpson got fired, McQualter's first game, I think it was against Brisbane at Optus and West Coast ended up covering that game. They didn't win, but they covered. So if you want to use that, yeah, that's fine. But that usually applies to like these bad teams who are like being really bad and then the coach gets fired. I don't think this Melbourne team's that bad. I genuinely think they're a decent side. I think, as I said, I think they can get the win here. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think the two teams here match up pretty well. And I think it's more in advantage to Western Bulldogs. So I've jumped on Western Bulldogs here at minus 25.5. There was a lot of contemplation put behind it. Obviously, like with the whole, first week after the coach goes, usually play pretty good footy. But I just feel like Western Bulldogs are going to come away with so much confidence from last week. They have a huge break as well, compared to Melbourne. So yeah, I just feel like Western Bulldogs might be able to come away with the cover here. But yeah, I completely understand like your position as well. It's definitely like we see it time and time again. So I might just be jumping straight into another trap here, which I tend to do.
Yeah,
Um,
like they do
yeah,
beat.
there's
Like I get it. Western Bulldogs do beat up on bad teams. That's at Marvel, man. Like the only time
mm,
they've been up on a bad team that's not at Marvel was in Ballarat against Port Adelaide. This is at the MCG. Like I feel like it's a different kettle of fish. I don't know. I think that's a ter I think that's a ter I think the North Melbourne's okay. I think that's a terrible pick. I'm
yeah,
hammering
fair enough,
Melbourne
fair
in the
enough.
points. Fair enough. We'll see what happens. I thought
Mm.
St Kilda plus 2.5 versus Melbourne was a terrible pick as well. So we saw how that turned out. Moving on to West Coast versus Adelaide Sunday afternoon game at Optus. Absolute corner TV game. This last time they played Adelaide were 50.5 point favorites at the Adelaide Oval. End up winning and covering. End up winning by 66 there. This time around, West Coast are 60.5 point dogs. We're going this one.
Stay away from me. I feel like there's just not much I don't know what either team's going to offer. Either Adelaide's going to absolutely just demolish them and win by like 80, 90 points, or somehow or Adelaide's just going to have like an easy game, get the win, get out of there, go back home. And yeah, West Coast will get the cover. So I don't have a proper read on this one, so I'm gonna just stay away from it.
Yeah, stay away from me as well. What the hell is this number, man? Like 60 points at
Yeah.
home. It's the worst side in the comp versus the best side in the comp right now. So you can understand the number. And these bad teams haven't really been competitive with these good teams. That's why I'm staying away from it. Like I just can't
Mm.
trust these bad teams. Usually any other year I'd be all over West Coast here, but this year we just can't do it. We've seen this year the bad teams just haven't been competitive. So yeah, I mean, but also it's 10 goals at home. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely lean West Coast, but I just can't do it for the contest. So stay away
Yeah.
from me here. All right, that wraps up our around 22 picks. Run us through your five, Gus.
All right, we've got Essendon plus 67.5, Sydney plus 22.5, Port Adelaide plus 27.5, North plus 50.5, and Western Bulldogs minus 25.5.
Okay, so you did sneak a favorite in this week. I see
I
it
did,
is the
yeah.
Western Bulldogs there. Okay, we'll see. I've got Hawthorn plus 7.5 and to win outright. Love that one. Got Richmond plus 22.5, Sydney plus 25.5. The Giants minus 50.5, and Melbourne plus 25.5. Probably my favorite pick on the board. All right, that wraps up our around 22 picks. Final thoughts before we wrap up here, Cuss.
Mate, it's the weeks that the top eight shape itself, so expect some good footy here. But yeah, let's hope we can have a positive week.
Yep, that's right. We just want to go 3-2 this week. As a reminder, please leave a like on this video and subscribe. And until next time, see you later.